Hello, hello, hello. Happy Thursday, everyone. How is everyone doing? CPI Thursday. Good morning, Patrick. I put in a link in the broadcast. I was on a live stream with Bob and Jim yesterday for Tradier. You can either search for Tradier. It was, what's it called? What is it called? But the link's in the live stream so you can copy it down for later. It's Tradier Hub stream. Traders Edge episode 11, geopolitics and the markets, if you're interested in checking that out. If you're interested, you can hear I break down some of the different defense stocks and everything and other sectors and stuff. So, give me some feedback on that. Good morning, Royal Palms. Well, it'll be bullish. I'm watching for a rollover play now. More so, especially with the hotter CPI. But we got to get some downwards price action at least, and then I'll be watching for at least a couple day pullback before we probably push higher again. And then we will see. Good morning, PTP. Good morning, PP. Good morning, Jacob. Wow. I'm sorry, I was up a lot last night. I had a couple dog things. Good morning, Anissa. Hey, Eric, I think so. RP, since it's been an adverse reaction year. Oh, Royal Palms, the CP. I see what you're saying. Hey, Christoph. All right. So, core inflation actually coming in pretty much in line. Year over year, pretty much coming in line and slightly down from previous. But 4.1 is still a hot inflation rate. Month over month for the headline number. Bounce consensus was 0.3, down from previous, but still a little bounce in that. And inflation year over year still a little tick up to 3.7. Initial jobless claims coming in roughly where it was expected, but continuing jobless claims, pretty big uptick here. Pretty big uptick in jobless claims, expected around 1680, 1660, 1680. Coming in at 1702 and last was 1672. So a little pop there. So that might have offset the little extra, because, hey, more continuing jobless claims, Fed will have to be in pause mode. But so maybe they're offsetting. Who knows? I can only trade the price action. What's up next? EIA numbers at 10 Central. It'll be interesting with that. We got some bill auctions. We got Bostic speaking. And that's really about it. And then tomorrow, well, we got the consumer sentiment numbers and Harker speaking. So, but remember, tomorrow really kicks off third quarter earnings. The financials start reporting. So we got to pay attention to that. S&P mixed with the mega caps, energy after crude filling the gap. Remember, I was watching that break below that key level. We broke down there and filled the gap yesterday, also setting up a potential double bottom. So we'll see there. Groups, we just do a quick refresh going into theirs. Virtually, utilities pretty much flat, technology flat, and everything else in positive territory led by energy on the way up. Fed Watch tool, slight tick up and a possible hike for December or January, but not even above the 40% yet. It's sort of locked in at this point for the pause to continue in November. So, and fear and greed still in fear mode. All right. So, we had Delta, which was a beat, slight gap up, at least last time I looked at it. Walgreens Boots was a miss on EPS, beat on revenue. Oh, I forgot to look at Domino's. So, there we go. But really tomorrow, JP Morgan, Citi, BlackRock, Wells Fargo, PNC, Progressive, and then United Health Group. So that's going to be very interesting tomorrow. In terms of that, so I'm keeping an eye on short-term cycles at the top, trying to roll over. We're at the 50 EMA. Hold on, I got to remove that. We're still on the non-back adjusted. We're right at that 50 EMA area, harmonic area. Did not get above the 62.5, but we're between the 50 and the 62.5, which is the key rollover zone I watch for. On a rollover, it would have to do a lot of technical damage. I mean, earnings have to start coming in really crappy. So the key area, again, I'm going to be looking at roughly the 14,333 if we get back there. But my first major target areas are 4,382 and then 4,359 coming into the pullback breakout level. And that's not just for today. That's going to be for the next couple days. And if we do push higher today, then those levels will ratchet up. Going into the open, I'm paying attention to this 4410 level. And if we start breaking below that, that's going to be pretty key. You can see here, you can see we had yesterday afternoon the little rally stalling out overnight. This is was more like a horizontal choppy pattern that it just broke down from. But the key area, you know, this 44.9, 44.10 area, if we start getting back down through that, then there's technically an end of the clear path to about 43.83. So that's what I'm keeping an eye on here. If we go to the upside, my key target area is 44.41. So this would only be minor upside potential. Now the next level beyond that is 44.83 in case something weird happens. NASDAQ closed above the 62.5 from this swing, from the highs in mid-September to the two bottom lows, because it turned into a multi-bottom here with Wednesday, October 4th. But we did close above the 62.5, so I'm still expecting more push higher in the NASDAQ even after a potential pullback. So that's what I'm keeping an eye on there. We have the descending channel right around that 87.5 coming in, so there'll be a cluster area up there. In the short term today, with the NASDAQ, it's really got to start dropping below 15,355 area. And then the key target area, remember we had a potential double here that never got the close below the base. It actually confirmed, but never triggered. It confirmed like a buck or something, and then just boop. That's why I like to wait for the trigger, because this just reversed right at that point. So, but that would be the target area if we do break down about 15,281 that I will be looking for. And then longer term, let me just pull this off. Longer term, I'll be watching if we do on any pullback. Again, some key areas I'll be looking at about 15,230 and then right around 15,125. And major area would be 15,19. So on a pullback, it's got to get some heavy selling before it can get into another real downturn move. Hey, Sterling, thanks for tuning in. I understand work. Domino's sucks unless playing euchre at 1 in the morning in a dorm room. Hey, I worked for years for Domino's. It's not great pizza. The only reason I was excited is I worked for years. I worked during my college, last 2 years of high school and through college at Domino's Pizza. So that's why I brought it up. Morning, Alan. So that's where we sit there with the Dow. The Dow also did trigger and came down to the first target and quickly reversed there. That's why I left that on. So the stop reduction target, and then it was hit and then bounced back up. There's not a great pattern in the Dow right now. The key level I'm watching, though, is about this 33,930. 33,930. Otherwise it's not great. The Russell did trigger and went to all three targets and then reversed. So that's why you never know which ones are exactly going to work all the way and which ones aren't. Russell right now, I'm paying attention to 1773 for key support. And then for any resistance is this 1800, And if we do break above 1800, the next minor target is about 1812. We break below the 1773, 1774. We have some pretty strong resistance at 1769. It's going to take a lot to really get through that level. But then the next key is 1761 and 1751 and a half. VIX, back to the 16 area. So if the VIX starts bouncing, especially starts bouncing above about 1620, we'll watch for more of the pullback formation. But this is some pretty key support. The DAX up into the 50 to 62.5 area, hitting the 50 and rolling over. So I'm going to be watching with cycles at the top over the next couple days for the rollover play in the DAX. The notes getting up close to the final target and reversing with that CPI number. But so I'm just going to watch for it to stall out today. Possibly it's coming into a very strong support area about 107.10. So we could see some continued pullback. But with that, that's going to be watching where I'm coming into support, and the yield coming down, hitting the final target, and bouncing and holding the rotation zone. And remember, the rotation zone is not a brick wall. It can dip below that. I watch where it closes. Like yesterday, touched the rotation zone, closed up. Today, dip below it, finishing the double pattern and moving on up. So the key resistance now in this is 4.65. 10-2s still on the pullback, so the steepening in the short term is done. Dollar index trying to get the rotation up. This would be an aggressive percent B buy if it closes above yesterday's high, but the key target area is 106.05 to 106.28. It really has some heavy lifting to do to get above 106.28. Why do I say that? Because we're still on the weekly pattern. We still have downwards pressure to go into a key support area. Now remember, it does not have to, it can remain choppy too. If this remains choppy, we've already had to pull back, but we can remain choppy on the bigger time frame to wear off that cycle high. So, I'm going to see how strong this bounce is right here. Crude, fill in the gap. Fill in the gap. Remember, we're talking about a breakdown from this little support ledge. Watch for the gap fill. The gap fill finally finished earlier today and now bouncing up. Now, the only thing that gets me in the short term more bullish, because we got cycles at the top on the daily, cycles still heading down on the weekly. So, cautious to the upside unless we get a close above 87.24. 87.24 is the key closing basis. So it's got some lifting to do up there, but if that triggers, then I'd have to switch back to bullish mode in crude. Other than that, still key support. If we do come back down, the next key support is about 82.20. Hey, options 22. I'll get the news in here tomorrow morning. Was trading CPI, then got called on 2 deals right at 9 a.m. Don't they know, Sterling, when the reports, because you know what? They have to do the car deals around at better times. CPI numbers. Aren't you making them aware of that it's CPI Thursday? I always appreciate you being in here, Sterling. Natty Gas still holding up nice. Still holding up nicely. Watch for if it does pull back this 320 area for support. Gold, I'm watching for a topping rollover play here. I did talk about gold on that podcast link I put in. If you didn't scroll back up in the comments, it's the tradier one, and I did touch on that at the end with what I'm expecting for gold. So that's worth tuning in if you're interested in my long-term perspective on gold. So you're going to have to watch that so you can give me some feedback. I'd really like some feedback on it. One, still watching the yen, still in intervention territory, but nothing yet. It's up in this key area, but no new. It would still be in trailing mode there. Euro, we're getting a rollover, watching for a pullback, and then another potential push higher in the euro, unless we close back below 105.20. Pound, same thing, watching for the pullback move here. And another potential bounce unless we close below 121.50 roughly. I'm not even going to bother with Bitcoin. Spiders. Spiders, after hitting the first target a couple times, next target, if it does push higher, you still have the gap fill left behind. So the gap fill 438.64. And this is why, even with a pullback, I'm still expecting a little push higher. 430, what is that? 438.02? 439.02? 439.02. 441.41. So that's where we sit there. We do have a little mini. Another little remember, this was not a potential double top yesterday. It did not rally up high enough. But now you do on the 4 hour. This does technically qualify. So I'll be watching if it breaks below. Let me get back to that 1 hour. If it breaks back down and closes below the 433.17, I'll start watching for the pullback. Little pullback play. Would this kill the remaining double bottom? No, it would not. It wouldn't even take it back to the 50%. So could that happen without invalidating the final two targets? Yes, it could. But depending on your positioning, that will be a key level to watch. So, and right now, you start breaking above 437.15 area, then the next target is at 439.02. And we get up towards that target, that little potential double would be invalidated. So at least we have a decent roadmap with the spiders. The Qs, again, you had the little potential double top, did not trigger. And now that's turned into a triple because of these wicks up here. So you see 1, 2, 3. So you have no longer in there. And the next key target is 372.63 to finish the double pattern. It also closed beyond this 62.5. So if you're trying to roll this into a bigger area, a bigger play, I would not ignore, because of the strong descending trend line, I would not ignore the 373.46 target area up here. Then above there, if it follows through, I'd use this 377.15, which is pretty major support. I mean, major resistance. So that's where it sits there. On any pullback, I'd be paying attention to around this 368.70 to 368.25 for the first level of the pullback, and the major supports coming in at 364.54. Oh, thanks, Anissa. I'm glad you watched it. Thank you for tuning in. I really appreciate when people take their time to listen to me ramble on about stuff and how I look at stuff. I hope it does help people. Let's see, Tesla. It's pretty much on hold through earnings. I mean, there's more weakness coming out in numbers for Tesla, but it's just not reacting. Still no close of that 62.5 right here again. So it's just pretty much in the key supports 255, key resistance is 267, 268 area. NVIDIA, let's just glance at that. NVIDIA, the 62.5, 467.84. Yesterday closing at 468.06. So technically the close above that. So even with a pullback, we could see price action come back up and turn this into more of a triple top. So then we just have we wouldn't be able to use these targets if it broke down, but we'd have pretty much a triple bottom and a triple top horizontal channel. So we'll keep an eye on that. What else? Did I miss anything? Apple in the rollover zone unless we close back above 181.60. So that's key. If we close above there, remember, we still have gaps left behind for Apple. And then we could see Remember, even with some pauses in here, stuff's starting to firm up. It's all going to really depend on how earnings seasons kicks off. And what does... Let me look at one thing. Let me look at something. I mean, if we look at this, so we already covered Friday, but next week we got a lot more. We got bank stuff on financial stuff on Monday. Tuesday's another pretty big day. And you got Johnson Johnson. Wednesday's big. You got Tesla, Netflix, Procter Gamble, Morgan Stanley. So next Wednesday's really big. Thursday, TSMC, American Airlines. So Friday sort of rounds out some more stuff with American Express. And then let's just jump the following week. We got a lot of stuff on the Tuesday. You got Meta on Wednesday. Boeing, which is now becoming more, I didn't get to cover that in the podcast yesterday, but that's an interesting one too. Intel on Thursday, Ford, UPS, Chipotle. So, and then some major gas the following Friday. So, where's Apple's not till the 2nd of November? That's a late one for Apple. Where's my buddy Google? Where's Google? Huh. I'll have to look for that. I don't see it. I probably overlooked it somewhere or whatever it's called now. Oh, I don't see it, huh? I'll have to look closely. But this is the key earnings season. The key earnings season really, until the second week of November is major. Sterling with the 5-minute double bottom on the S&P. 5-minute. Is that valid? Is that even valid? That's not valid. Unless I'm not looking at the same thing you're looking at. That's 5 minutes. That's not valid. Because this is a move that started and the second and third targets are beyond it. That's where we sit. What, you want to look at Disney? Then I gotta jump again. Disney. When is Disney earnings? Wednesday the 8th. That'll be interesting. Disney, did you see they raised all their theme park ticket prices by up to 8.9%? So, what's the bigger picture looked in Disney? Disney's starting to form a pretty decent potential bottoming formation with a base in here. So again, if we start getting above about 87, it could be interesting for at least a short-term play higher in Disney. All right, with that, I'm going to wrap it up for now. Let me just check that NASDAQ going into the open. NASDAQ. Let's just see. All right. Now, the NASDAQ does qualify for a potential double. So I'd be keeping an eye on that, especially if you're a QQQ bull. All right, that's where we sit. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. If you have some time today, tune into that podcast from yesterday. The information is still completely relevant because it's talking about a lot of longer-term and geopolitical things. And I will see everybody for, what was it, kickoff earnings season Friday and consumer sentiment. Bye for now.